Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
We're going to talk about kind of a scary disease that is making a return after a long time away, 50 years. We went 50 years without people being confirmed with measles. Measles, which has killed a lot of people throughout global history, has come back.
Indeed. So this, of course, is quite controversial with the anti-vaxxers. We know fierce anti-vaxxer among us, a friend of ours. And so if she were to read today's article, she would be screaming, this is all wrong. Where do you guys get your information? So again, this is kind of controversial, but we'll go with it here and read the information that we have presented to us. So again, this is about measles, and it returns after a 50-year absence. So watch out, people. Protect yourselves. Let's read through today's article and find out what this is all about.
Modern medicine has made great progress in eliminating many diseases. Credit for this goes to vaccines. Some diseases have been totally wiped out by vaccines, while others only exist in remote populations. Measles is one disease everyone thought had practically disappeared, but now it's back. Measles causes a high fever that lasts about 1 week, along with an unpleasant rash that covers the body. Occasionally, measles can cause blindness, brain swelling, or lung disease. Deaths can occur in some extreme circumstances. A vaccine became available in 1963. At the time, there were about 500,000 cases of measles per year in the U.S. By 1994, the number was near zero in developed nations. Yet recently, there have been huge outbreaks, 1,200 cases in the U.S. and 90,000 in Europe in the first half of 2019. Globally, measles cases have doubled since 2018. This is because some people believe that the measles vaccine can lead to autism or other disorders. This was the conclusion of a 1998 study, which turned out to be seriously flawed and was retracted by its publisher. Yet social media allowed the study's inaccurate results to circulate. Follow-up studies showing the safety of vaccines haven't received the same attention. About 9% of Americans now believe that vaccines are unsafe, and a strong anti-vaccination movement has emerged throughout Europe and North America. What's worse is that the measles vaccine doesn't always work, and even vaccinated children may still be at risk when the disease spreads rapidly. The media and the medical community have gone to great lengths to inform the public of the safety of vaccines. However, measles will continue to spread if people keep refusing to vaccinate their children.
Okay, it's our unit on medicine, and today we're talking about a particular disease, measles, oftentimes referred to as the measles or the chicken pox. I had chicken pox when I was a kid, but I don't believe I had the measles. I probably had the vaccination.
You did,
so
yeah.
I'm probably okay. But, of course, nowadays the measles have returned, and that's what we're going to talk about. They seem to have been absent for 50 years. So if you're absent, that means you're not there, you did not go to school, or you did not go to work. Where's Tom today? Well, he's absent. He's home, and he's sick. But that's the adjective form, absent. Here, absence is the noun. That just refers to the situation in which something is missing.
And notice, guys, I talk about this a lot with some of my clients. You can't say 50 years absence.
No.
Notice that there's no S on year, guys. 50 year is an adjective. 50 year something. So 50 year and then a noun. A 50-year absence. Yeah, we do refer to it as the measles. Of course, I never had the measles because I had the vaccines. Like a good little girl, I guess I can thank my mom. But I did have the chicken pox, and unfortunately, I got the chickenpox when I was 14.
Uh-oh.
Horrible. It's better to have it when you're young. You're miserable. So anyway, let's look at the first paragraph here. Modern medicine, that's today, has made great progress at eliminating or getting rid of something completely. That's to eliminate many diseases. And one of those used to be the measles. But turns out they're back. Credit for this. Like, who can we thank for this? Who gets the credit for this? Well, credit goes to vaccines. And that's the shot that you got as a kid. And they fill that shot up with some sort of liquid that helps your body, produce something that can fight against the measles. It strengthens your body as you get those vaccines. Vaccine or vaccination, you can use either of those words. Some diseases have been totally wiped out. Now, we use wipe out in different ways. Wiped out here means eliminated or destroyed completely. But we also use it as kind of a fun term to talk about, being on a skateboard or maybe on a bike and doing some tricks on your bike and wiping out, which means you crash, you fall. And you usually get hurt a little bit. Yeah, wipe out. But if you want to wipe something out totally, it means to get rid of something, to destroy it, eliminate it.
Yeah, like Hitler tried to wipe out the Jewish population in Europe during World War II. That's an extreme example there, but it did happen. And some diseases have been eradicated. They've been totally gotten rid of or wiped out. And, of course, they say the vaccines were responsible for that, while others only exist in remote populations. So, yes, in most places, people say that these diseases have been wiped out by vaccines. Vaccines really helped out. But in other areas, they only are remote. So, remote here just means far away, separated from the rest of the world. So, I guess that's a different kind of situation.
Well, they didn't have access to modern medicine. If you talk about remote populations, you're talking about people who live far, far away from civilization. No one's there to give them vaccines or to require by law that they have vaccines before they go to school. So, of course, some of these remote populations, like Tom said, far, far away from cities and even villages, these are people that are far away from everybody else. Those populations probably did suffer, perhaps, or maybe they were never exposed to measles in the first place, which is good. Measles is one disease everyone thought had practically disappeared. When you put that word practically in front of it, it just means almost. So it had almost disappeared, or it felt like it was completely gone, but now it's back.
That's right. So you could say maybe the concert was not popular. Nobody wanted to see it. So, hey, the auditorium was practically empty. It was almost empty. There was a handful of people there, but basically no one went. But in this particular case, yeah, it almost disappeared. It practically disappeared, but now it's back. It has returned. Now, here in the second paragraph, it says, measles causes a high fever that lasts about 1 week, along with an unpleasant rash that covers the body. So you get this high fever, your temperature goes really high, and that lasts for about 1 week, so that can be quite unpleasant. You might start shivering and stuff because you've got a fever. That's no fun. I've had that happen before.
And your body aches. It's horrible.
Yep, and then you get this rash, which means your skin kind of turns red. You get these kind of sores on your skin. And that's unpleasant. Nobody likes a rash because they itch like crazy and you're not supposed to itch it. And if you keep scratching it, if you scratch it, then you might cause blood and you'll get scars and stuff like that. So that's no fun either.
I wanted to mention because I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, wow, measles, it looks like it's fushu. It looks like it's plural word here. Why are they using causes and not cause? You can't say anyone has measles or the measles disease. Official name of this disease is measles with an S. So you're going to use the singular verb. So measles causes, just like I would say a heart attack causes, like that. Yeah, measles causes. I know it's weird. It was weird for me when I read it, but that's correct. So the symptoms that come along with measles are pretty awful. And it's not bad if it just lasts a week, but the problem is sometimes it affects people, maybe they're too weak to fight it. They can actually die, and it definitely hurts young kids, especially babies, if they get anywhere near it. stay away from infants if you aren't sure whether you've had the measles vaccine. So occasionally, what does that word mean? Every once in a while, occasionally, measles can do something horrible like cause blindness. Usually happens in younger kids especially. So once they get over the measles and, their fever goes down and the rash disappears, unfortunately, some people are left blind. They can no longer see for the rest of their life. It can swell your brain. That's terrible. That can kill people or leave you with some sort of lung disease.
Right, but deaths can occur in some extreme circumstances, so I guess it doesn't cause death all the time, but only sometimes, and that's something to be concerned about. Okay, we've talked about the first two paragraphs in today's lesson. Let's stop now and listen to our Chinese teacher. What do you got for us today?
Hello, my name is Shelby. 今天我们来看看错误的讯息，竟然使得麻疹又回到这个世界了。在第一题的地方 blank for this goes to vaccines. 在空格的前一句指出来，医学消灭许多的疾病，而空格这句的文意提到 vaccines 疫苗，空格呢是应该放主词，所以我们要用名词形态的字。那惯用于 credit goes to something or someone， 表示说归功于某件事或某人。Credit 呢是功劳的意思，疫苗消灭了许多疾病，所以答案我们要选 C credit。第二题，空格前面从 everyone thought had practically blank， 人们呢以为已经怎么样了，来形容 one disease。空格前面有 had， 暗示空格是过去分词，形成了过去完成式。后面说他又回来了，表示呢是以前消失的，所以这题答案我们去选 F disappeared 消失。第三题 Deaths can occur in some extreme blank 在极端的什么之下会导致死亡。第二段说明麻疹的症状呢是由发烧到肺炎，由轻到重。空格前面有个介系词 in 表示在什么之下，加上 extreme 形容词极端的，可见这个空格我们要放一个名词，所以选项 D circumstances 情况，在极端的情况下，文意符合，这题答案选 D。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to continue talking about our lesson, Measles Returns After a 50-Year Absence. So please protect yourselves. And here in the third paragraph, we're talking about a vaccine. So a vaccine, 疫苗, vaccine, became available way back in 1963. I think that's when Kennedy was shot, actually, 1963. And at the time, there were about 500,000 cases of measles per year in the U.S. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it does. But by 1994, after we'd had the vaccine for a while, the number was near zero. Or we could also say practically zero, couldn't we? We just learned that. So near zero, almost zero, in developed nations. These are nations that have a good economy, they have a strong government that functions well, and that people are making a good enough living that they can afford, to go see a doctor. And of course, in the States, I think it's required to go to public school. You have to have your shots, your vaccinations before you can go, your vaccines. Vaccinations is actually used more if you're talking about going to school. So, yeah, but recently, if you thought 500,000 cases of measles per year was a lot, there have been some huge outbreaks in the last couple of years. Instead of having near zero cases in the U.S., we now have 1,200 or 1,200. I want to recommend to our listeners, you need to start practicing saying numbers like a native speaker would. I can guarantee you no one would say 1,200 who was born in the States. We're all going to say 1,200. So try to learn that as well so that you're able to understand it quickly and also can say it as well. How many cases in Europe? Well, 90,000 in Europe in the first half of 2019. And as you know, we're now in a different year, but that was last year, 2019, there were 90,000 in Europe. So globally, we're talking about the whole world now, the whole globe, the whole world. We've got measles cases that have doubled since 2018. That's the scary statistic here. The fact that they've doubled just in the last year or so is crazy.
Exactly. So why is this happening? What the heck is going on? Well, this is because some people believe that the measles vaccine can lead to autism or other disorders. So that's why people are refusing to get vaccinated, because they've heard that if you give your kids this vaccine, they will get autism, which I believe is 自闭症 in Chinese, autism, and you don't want that to happen to your kid. And a lot of people think that's because of the vaccines. I think some people say it's because of the preservative in vaccines or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But in any case, that's one reason why people are not vaccinating the children, because they think, hey, you could get autism if you get a shot.
Right. I know there's a celebrity out there, I won't mention her name, that really got a lot of publicity about this because her own son has autism. And of course, she wanted to blame somebody, blame something. You always want to blame somebody when you're going through hard times. Well, she was blaming the vaccines or vaccinations her son had got. There was this study in 1998. I've heard a lot about this, which said, oh, if you get these vaccines or vaccinations, it could lead to autism, which is a tough thing to have a child grow up with because they're never able to really socialize very well with others. There are different types of autism. Some are extreme and others are not so bad. I have a nephew that's very close to being autistic, and it's hard for him to socialize with kids in high school. But he's learned how to handle some of these things better. But yeah, it's tough. Well, the study said, oh, it's because of the vaccinations that these kids are getting autism or autistic, because you're not born autistic. Usually happens during your toddler years that these symptoms start emerging. Well, the study turned out to be really flawed, which means it had a lot of errors in it. And the publisher of the magazine that published this study, some sort of medical journal, actually retracted it, meaning they printed an article and said, we no longer support this study. We think there are too many flaws and errors in it. Publisher is someone who publishes something. You could be a magazine publisher, a newspaper publisher. You could even publish what you have to say to the world on social media, but you're not officially a publisher.
But unfortunately, that information is still out there. So it says here, yet social media allowed the study's inaccurate results to circulate. So yes, even though the publisher retracted this survey or this study, the information is still out there and people believe it, and they're circulating this information on social media, posting it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And they are circulating, which means they're going around in society, they're spreading around. That's what to circulate means. Your blood circulates in your body, for example.
We could also use the phrase, it's gone viral. If you're circulating on social media, it means whatever you're seeing on Instagram, you're sharing with more of your friends and family, you're reposting. Maybe you like it on Facebook, or if you're on Twitter, you're liking that and retweeting. Those are all ways to circulate on social media. Now, the follow-up studies showing that the safety of vaccines, that they're okay. They're not what they were said to be in the 1998 study. They haven't received the same attention. This is true of anything. You know, if the media publishes something and it turns out to be fake news or it's incorrect, they'll publish, a correction the next day, but it's tiny. No one sees that. So everyone continues to believe what they first read. That's the problem. It's hard to correct misinformation or bad studies after they've gotten a lot of publicity and circulated to too many people.
Exactly. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, about 9% of Americans now believe that vaccines are unsafe, and a strong anti-vaccination movement has emerged throughout Europe and North America. So 9% of Americans think, yes, vaccines are unsafe. I'm not going to get a shot. I'm not going to let my kids get vaccinated. And then we've got the anti-vaxxers, or the anti-vaccination movement. This has established itself in Europe and North America.
Yeah, like Tom said, we both have a close friend who's very anti-vaccination. She's an anti-vaxxer, as we call them. So what's worse is that the measles vaccine doesn't always work. It's true of any vaccination that you get. And even vaccinated kids, the ones who had the shots, may still be at risk if someone with, the measles happens to be around them. It's very easy to spread the disease. It's easier than spreading a cold, so you have to be very careful if you're around someone with this disease. Now, the media and the medical community, these are the doctors and the nurses and the researchers, all of these people are in the medical community. They've gone to great lengths to inform the public of the safety of vaccines. When you go to great lengths to do something, it means you do everything you can. You don't just stop at the first attempt. Wow, you keep trying everything you can think of to get some sort of reaction or some sort of result. So both the media and the medical community, they've done everything they can to get the correct information out to the public. Inform here is a verb we use to let people know about some information. People in Taiwan, I have to say, because I teach a lot of business people, they overuse this word. They say, I'm writing to inform you that the meeting will be changed from Monday to Tuesday. Don't use it too much. You could just write a letter and say, I'm writing to let you know.
Or to tell you.
Or to tell you, or pass along this information. Inform is more formal, and we also use it to tell someone about some bad news as well. So try not to use that all the time, but it is a good word to learn. It's just too close to, 通知你, and so everybody is always using inform rather than using different ways to say the same thing.
But here we're saying that the medical community and the media have gone to great lengths to let people know, to inform them that vaccines are safe. However, measles will continue to spread if people keep refusing to vaccinate their children, at least according to our article today. So I guess our advice would be make sure your kids get vaccinated and don't let the measles spread. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
第4题 A vaccine became blank in 1963. 1963年，疫苗怎么了？空格是在连缀动词 become 的后面，表示呢，它会是一个形容词或者是名词。句子后面的文意有说明，美国有50万的麻疹病例，但是在1994年几乎都没有了，表示说呢，在1963年疫苗出现，使得麻疹病例的数字产生了变化，所以这题答案我们要选 I available 可使用的，表达说 vaccine 疫苗出现，使得疫情减缓。等到第5题的地方 Yet recently there have been huge blank ... Yet recently 使口气反转的暗示这么强烈，它表示情况不同了。前2句说原来麻疹销声匿迹，现在却冒出1000多个新案例。 There have been 后面要加名词，表示发生什么事情。依照文意，所以我们就选 H outbreaks 爆发。第6题 This was the blank of a 1998 study ... 这是西元1998年一项研究得出来的什么东西。后面呢又有一个 which 形容词子句来形容前面的什么是错误的。电冠词 the 的后面我们要放名词。研究的什么造成了误解，使文意跟文法都能适合的选项，我们就要选 A conclusion 结论。第7题 Yet social media allowed the study's blank results to circulate. Circulate 流传，然而社群媒体却允许该研究什么的结果 传播出来。Results 结果，名词，所以前面要放形容词，而文意前面的句子又说明这个结论是错误的。由这些暗示，这题答案应该选 G inaccurate 不正确的。第8题 Follow up studies blank the safety of vaccines 后续怎么样子的疫苗安全性的研究并未得到同样的关注。空格呢，我们应该要放一个分词，而且这个分词还要能搭配后面的名词片语 the safety of vaccines， 整个分词片语用来修饰前面的主词 follow up studies。 因此这题答案我们要选 showing 证明。第9题前半句说约 9% 的美国人不相信疫苗安全 and a strong anti-vaccination movement has blank throughout Europe and North America。 而且在欧洲和北美已经怎么样子强烈的反疫苗运动。空格前面有 has， 暗示空格是个过去分词，形成现在完成式。那又依照本段的文意，说明反疫苗运动现在不断的出现。选项 J emerged 出现。第10题 If people keep blank to vaccinate their children， 然而如果人们继续怎么样子让孩子打疫苗，麻疹会继续的扩散。 To vaccinate 动词，打疫苗的意思。那选项 B refusing 拒绝， keep refusing 继续拒绝。所以第10题答案我们要选 B。 以上是今天的讲解，谢谢收听。
So we're going to wrap this up, guys. Hopefully, no one out there listening has ever had the measles or will ever run into someone who has the measles. It can be a very painful disease, and it can actually lead to death if the person who's infected is either too old, your body breaks down as an elderly person, or you're too young because little babies can't fight it off either. So good luck. Look into it, see how you feel, and do the right thing. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.